Hello and welcome to another one of my Victoria Area free guides. Today I'm going to talk about expansion and diplomatic place and where to expand. It's important to realize that immigration is important. You want to have a lot of population, and you want to have a lot of population in your home country. I'm France here, so this is like the home country of the French people. And for example, Morocco, this is the home country of Morocco. So let's say I would conquer Morocco. All the Moroccans living here, they will never become French, because if they live in their home country, they cannot change culture. Basically, you cannot assimilate someone that lives in their home culture. But if they would move to France, then they can assimilate and become French. And when do people emigrate and migrate? There is two types of migration. There is intra-market migration, and there is this event, like a lot of people from a special country goes to another place in another market, and you get like a pop-up event. And both of them, both want to migrate from a place with low standard of living to a high standard of living. So you want to have a high standard of living because that gives migration. As balance to this high standard of living, gives less birth rate. But this also, another one thing that's important to get migrants, if we're just gonna look here, migrant attraction. We get migrant attraction because standard of living and because we are great power and we have quite a high attraction. Another thing that's important for migrant attraction, let's look here maybe at New York. It also has a high, and it's because they have unused arable land. Basically, every country has arable land, which is like, for example, let's take Champagne here, where they make the delicious drink champagne. There is like a limit on arable land. In this case it's 74, and that's quite a lot. Let's look here in Burgundy, it's 62. But some places, like for example northern Sweden, here it's like almost, northern Sweden is almost the same size as all of France, but because it's such a cold climate and there is only coniferous forests here, they only have 22 arable land, so it's size of all of France, but it's maybe I don't know, 1,000 of the arable land, or only 100 of the arable land in France. And so where is there a lot of free arable land? And with free arable land, I mean land that is not occupied by peasants right now, because a place like India or China, they have a lot of arable land, but it's already occupied with subsistence farmers. So it's the place where there is a lot of arable land but few people. It is in America. So United States, for example, Mexico, Brazil, like especially United States, they have like a lot of free land. Like here there is like let's look at some place here, maybe Wisconsin. Let's look. 180. Like Wisconsin has like twice as much arable land than Champagne, for example. Or here 268. They used to have a huge amount of arable land here in USA, and that drives the migrant attraction. You see, plus 30 because of arable land. So people wants to move here. And historically, from places like Ireland, Germany, Sweden, they were like maybe like 50 million people moved from Europe to America to settle in America and get their own plot of land and become farmers. So what you don't want to do as France, for example, you do not want to get these countries in America in the same market as you, because what will happen is that French people will just move to America because there is more arable land. So, but what you want to do is that these poor countries, Africa, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and so on, they are in those places there is not much arable land, lots of poor people, and all of these people want to move to France. They want to have a better life in France, work in French factories. So that's what you want to do. So you want to expand in this part, like Africa, Southeast Asia, Middle East, and so on. So, like, there is some people say, like, America, they have their Monroe Doctrine. They control all of this. They control all of America. That's why the European nations are not expanding here in the game or in real life. But it's not in the game. It's not because of that. The reason is that it's not smart for European nations to pull a lot of these people into your market. For example, with the great power, I could pull in someone like Venezuela, for example, quite easily in my block or make them a protectorate or whatever. But it wouldn't be good for me, because what would happen is that French people would move to Venezuela, where there is a lot of arable land, and I wouldn't gain much from it. Much better would be to conquer, colonize Africa, take all these. There's lots of people here that want to move to France to work in France factories. So France, they took all of Northern Africa, they took Vietnam, and all of these places here in Southwest Africa. And the British, they took like all the Middle East and like all of Southern and Eastern Africa. So that's the reason, like where you should expand. Both making protectorates, making conquer places, and also pull people into your power block. I already made a video about the power block, but one thing that is important to know for expansion is this about interest. You can only have it in certain places. France and Great Britain, they of course can have it in many places. But once you have some kind of let's say, for example, I put an interest here in South Africa, then if I conquer, let's say I conquer this province here of Gaza or Zulu, it's popular places to conquer, because Gaza gives us the colonization way here in Eastern Africa. So lots of people like to conquer Gaza. What happens then is that you already have a province here, so you don't have to have your interest here. So you kind of want, for several reasons, you want to conquer like one place in every region. It doesn't have to be it can only be a big place, a small place, maybe a treaty port or whatever. But it's important to have one little place as a major power for several reasons. One, that you can have an interest everywhere in the world. And the other thing is that, for example, if I would like to pull in, let's say, Transvaal and Orange into my block, these are like Dutch colonies here in Africa, so they have a lot of European population that would be accepted. So it would be kind of nice countries to pull into my block. They would not like to join us now, because we don't have any like presence here. But once we conquer Zulu, for example, then we would be neighbors to them, and that will give a big boost to pull them into my block. So the other reason is that it's much easier to pull people into your block when you already have a presence in a region. That gives like a huge boost for that. So this is basically where you should expand. You should expand not in America, but because there is too much arable land and it will just drain your people. They will move to America in intra-market migration. So you want to take places in Africa, and you want to take places here in Southeast Asia, and also in Middle East and so on. Like, you want to take places where there is lots of people, lots of poor people, so they can move to Europe and work in the factories. So the next thing is, what should I do? Like, either you could colonize, and it's good to colonize. For example, this is a good one to colonize Kenya right away, even if you don't have the quinine tech for malaria, because it opens the path to colonize here in what's today Tanzania and Kenya, I think. And Gaza would be a good place to conquer because you can colonize East Africa, and also here is also good to colonize. And you should take the quinine tech quite fast if you are a country that easily can get some kind of a colonization tech. So that's one way you can expand, and the other one is by pulling people into your power block. If you are an empire, after you pull them in, after 5 years you can subjugate them, and then they will be in your market, and they will also be your subject. If you're a customs union like Prussia, you only have to invite them into your market, and then they will also be in your customs union. And being in a customs union, having a large such one, it's good economically because it allows specialization. It gives access to rare goods, like to different kind of rare goods that you might not have if you are only on your own. So it has a lot of advantages. And the other way how you can expand is either by conquering places or by making protectorates. And I would recommend, and now with the Sphere of Influence DLC, that if you accept the culture, it's fine to conquer. So, for example, France, here we have the cultural exclusion law, which means that everyone that shares a cultural trait with France, they are accepted. So if we look at my people here, my French, we are European heritage and Francophone, which means that all the people in Europe, we could conquer places here, and the people would be accepted, so that would be fine. And also people that are Francophone, and that's, for example, it's not so important for us, but for example, so some places are Francophone, but we accept both of them right now. So if we're going to conquer something here in Africa or so that won't be accepted, I would strongly recommend that we make a protectorate, because discriminated culture gives radicals, and we can be out radicals. We don't need the radicals. We want loyalists and not radicals. So the only time where we should conquer instead of making a protectorate, it's if we need a path for colonization. So for example, Gaza, we should conquer. We should not make it a protectorate because we need the path here for colonization. If we conquer this Zanzibar in the nation of Oman, then we should conquer to get colonization access. But for example, let's say this nation of some here in Ethiopia or Sokoto or something here, then protectorate them is correct, because it will only give, then we don't have to bother with the radicalization, the radicals from discriminated cultures. And when you have colonized everything you need, there is like a decision to create a colonial subject, and you should do that also, so you don't have to worry about the radicals. once, which is quite in the late game, when you can get this, if you manage to get the multiculturalism, then you can conquer everything if you want. So the way you conquer or make a protectorate is to make a demand. So let's, for example, say we as France, we have like we have a quest to protectorate these ones, these countries here in Algeria, and then we get this one, and the most important for all nation here is to see what is Britain doing. Who is Britain supposed to, might they side against us? So in this case, Britain might side against us. So it's very dangerous to attack any place really when the British can side against you, because they are the hegemony, and they are the most powerful country at the game start. So what you should do is that you should look here at the British diplomacy, and you should see what is Britain doing. So if I would like to conquer, let's say I like to make a protectorate of Mascara, I would wait until Britain is occupied, because Britain likes to start a lot of wars. For example, they like to go for Queen and make a treaty port here in the Opium Wars. So I wait 1-2 years until Britain starts that play, and once they are in a play, they are much less likely to join against me, and then it's time for me to start conquering when Britain is already busy in another play or in another war. So that's the main important. I see, like, I read on like forums, Reddit and so on, and people say I can't play this game, Britain is always joining against me. So that's why you should always look here and only make plays when Britain is busy. That's the most important thing. And if you play like as some smaller country, then of course you have to look at what is France doing, like, or basically those that have an interest here. So let's for example make a protectorate here somewhere. You can see Britain is again here, so I have to wait until Britain is done. I'm not, as France, I'm not afraid of Portugal, for example, so I don't care about those, but I'm afraid of Britain. The second thing that's important to know about making protectorate and conquering people, it is that it's always good to play slowly and look what plays are doing, because this is a game where there is AI is quite bad at managing their nations, their radicals, and their politics. So there is a lot of civil wars in this game, and if I, let's say I would try to like conquer a nation here, or maybe like make a protectorate, maybe that would cause 10 infamy, and if I get over 25, I get like a negative modifier. It's possible to go over it, but it's recommended if you're quite a new player to stay under 25 infamy all the time, so people likes you. If you get over here, like the other countries will start to dislike you, and you will also get more radicals. And so one way to get, there is like 2 ways in this game to get subjects and stuff for free without gaining infamy. One way is to play the diplomatic power block game and just invite them to your power block and customs union and maybe subjugate them then. And the other way is to wait for place when the other countries is involved in some kind of war, civil war, and so on. And what you often can do then is that you can side against, let's say for example, let's say if Mascara is involved in a civil war between the landowners and the intelligentsia, let's just say that, and they have started a play, then maybe the intelligentsia, maybe I can join the intelligentsia if they become my subject, and then they would become my subject for free, and I could just beat the landowners in Mascara, and then I would get them for free and doesn't have to get the 20 infamy or whatever it would be if I would subjugate them. And that's also why you want, as a major power, you want presence in every region. And we are France, so we have quite many interests already, but you can see we only have like half the world interest now. So we would like to take like a little place or make a colony, little colony, like everywhere here, basically. To just for that reason, to be able to join against and take like a protectorate, like a subject for free. And that's also why like Britain is often, if you play a small country and you attack somewhere and then Britain sides against you, maybe the country you're attacking, they are telling Britain, I want to become your subject if you help me. So that's also why it's very, very dangerous to attack places. If Britain, France or whatever just can join against you, if they are not occupied in some other play, then it's much less likely that they want to be involved. The other thing that's so it's important to watch all the plays in the world. Can I go in and get a subject for free? The other thing that's important to know is the war goals. The AI is programmed. It might change, but in this patch, the 1.7.5, the AI likes to like suicide into the player. I feel they like to suicide into the player. They like to start even wars, which doesn't make any sense. Like if you just want to maximize your gameplay. For example, Britain, they could subjugate whoever here. Like in all of Africa, no one could stand against them. But I see them often attack France. I see them often attack Russia, for example, or United States. And these are countries that they might not be able to beat Britain at sea, but they can win a land war against Britain. And often the AI is choosing stupid war goals, because the war goals is often, if you take a state, then if you control that state, you control the war goal. And sometimes they want to humiliate to get war reps, and that's even more harder, because then you need to control the capital, I think, to gain the ticking war score, so the opponent has to capitulate. So what you can do if Britain or someone else that you can't fight, let's say Britain attacks France to take, let's just say they want to take Brittany here, then if you just can get a lot of troops here in Brittany so they can't naval invade France, sooner or later Britain will, their war support will run down to 0, and yours will also be at 0, so it's likely that it could end at a white peace. But what you could do is, for example, let's say that we have a border somewhere. Let's say that Britain colonized this little part here. We say Britain colonized this little kick, and we have a colony here. So here we have a border. Then because we have to choose a war goal. When Britain makes a play on us, we have to choose a war goal. And it's very important that we choose a war goal that we can win. So we should not choose, for example, let's take take London like that, because then we would have to naval invade and hold London to get the ticking war score, and there is like 0 chance that our navy can beat Britain and naval invade here. So what we should do, let's say that this is a British colony here in Kajor, then we should ask them to give us maybe their colony here, and then we can, before the war starts, the AI is not so smart, like, and they don't send their troops always after the war goal. So if we send one army here in France, it's likely that we could win the war, and we can send the troops here during the countdown before the navies can stop them. So we send one army here, and we just take the war goal and just sit on that, and we have one army here defending France from naval invasion. And then we just have to wait a couple of years, and Britain's war support, because we control the war goal, they does not control their war goal. They will go down to -100 when they capitulate, and we get our war goal. So choosing the right war goals that you're likely to achieve is very important. The last thing I wanted to talk about in this one is that often you should wait until the enemies are occupied. Let's say if you're playing as France here, and it's very likely that Prussia will often suicide into Austria to try to become the only unification candidate for Germany. And that's often bad, because often Austria allies Russia, and then for some reason, even if there is zero chance they can win, the AI is like suiciding into Austria, and they will of course get destroyed if they fight both Austria and Russia. And so let's say I'm playing France, and here in the Ruhr area in Rhineland, North Rhine, Ruhr, these are like good countries with historical, like lots of coal, metal, and so on. Maybe I want to take a country here also to weaken Prussia. I shouldn't attack them like when everything is at peace. That would just be stupid, because then Prussia will put all their troops here, and maybe I can't push into Rhineland, because as you know, the defender has an advantage in this game. So maybe I couldn't push, and it would be a white piece or so, or even someone might side with Prussia. But if Prussia already suicided into Austria and Russia, then it would be completely safe for France to take Rhineland here, and just when Prussia is getting destroyed, just occupy and take this province. So watch another country that's used to gets destroyed by revolution is Ottoman Empire. They're always, not always, but often in my games they're doing very badly. So, and often they try to attack Egypt to get back their course here that they lost in the when Egypt declared their independence. And then often someone like Britain will help Egypt and just attack the Ottomans. And that's a perfect. Then Britain is occupied, Ottoman is weak. Then we could just take their subjects here, for example, Tunis and Tripolitania are Ottoman subjects. We could just take them if we play France. If we play Austria, we could take these three subjects, maybe the Balkan Bros here, Moldavia, Wallachia, and Serbia. It's just like free. So you have to play smart and wait for opportunities in this game. So let's do a recap now before we end the episode. As a European great power, you want to expand in Africa and Southeast Asia and like Middle East and so. But you don't want to expand in America. And the reason for that is America has a lot of arable lands. It will just drain your population that will move to America. But the poor people of Africa, which is already overpopulated, and Asia, which is also overpopulated, they want to move to France and work in your factories. And so that's number one. Number two is, before you make a play, basically watch Britain. Don't make a play if it's like this, that they are not active in any wars or diplomatic plays. Once Britain is busy, the world is up for grabs. Otherwise, Britain might join against you. 3. If someone, which is very common, someone suicides into you, like Britain suicides into France for some silly war goal, control the war goal, shows the easiest war goal you can get, and try to win by holding the war goals, because you won't be able to control the seas. And 4th, don't attack when everything is at peace. Then a lot of people will probably join against you. But if there is some revolution in a country, some country is suiciding into another, that's the perfect time to get more territory or some subjects or so. So thanks for watching.